Welcome back. So, first things first, let's talk about why thumbnails are important. Now, of course, the most important part of growing a channel is making good stuff. And I would never tell someone to spend less time on the writing or research or making graphics or filming or anything like that in favor of thumbnails. All I would promote is that people spend more time on thumbnails in addition to all of those things. Because the unfortunate truth is that no matter how much time and energy you put into research and writing and graphic design, none of it really matters if no one clicks on the video in the first place. You have to grab your viewers' attention before you can impress them with your great ideas or graphic skills or all of the above. Thumbnails are your first and most important chance to stand out, especially when your channel is new, it's growing, no one really knows about it. It's your opportunity to entice viewers to come watch. So people ask me, well, how did your channel take off? How did you get from just making videos with 10, 20, 30 views to where you are today? And the answer is, I didn't have to pay for any kind of advertising because that is the magic of YouTube. The algorithm advertises for you. Now that doesn't mean it's easy, it just means that if you do the right things, of course there's a luck component, then YouTube will place those ads for you, meaning recommended videos. So the way it works is that YouTube is happy to basically buy billboard slots on your behalf, meaning place your thumbnail all over people's YouTube pages because it wants people to watch more YouTube, obviously. And that's how a lot of channels kind of grow exponentially, is they get that one thumbnail or one topic that really does well, and then all of a sudden the algorithm really likes them and puts them all over. So if all you really have is a billboard, this is your resume, your CV, your interview presentation. It's everything in one image convincing complete strangers that your video is worth watching. Thumbnail is more important than tags, descriptions, even the title. Now, as your channel grows and you get more and more subscribers, the billboard kind of takes on a secondary purpose. It becomes more of a branding exercise. So you don't just want to attract new viewers, treating the thumbnail as kind of a billboard like I said before, but you also want to communicate to your existing subscribers, people who are already watching your videos, that this is one of your videos, and give them a sense of what to expect. So Apple is a huge company, everyone knows they exist, and they're big enough now that they don't need to spend a bunch of money and time and effort convincing people they exist and are big. At this point, what they're doing with new products is signaling to their existing fans, well, this is an Apple product. You already know what that looks like, and so here's another one. If you like those, here's another product you'll probably like. And that's what your channel and your thumbnail should be doing, rather, as you grow on YouTube, is communicating both to new people, well, this might be something you'd be interested in, but also to people who already like your stuff, here's more of what you love. So you have kind of two things to balance at the same time, and it's about maintaining those early viewers just as much as it is getting them in the first place in that early growth phase. So that's the why, the answer to the question, why spend so much time on thumbnails? Well, in essence, because that image is your video's marketing. It's how you get new viewers and keep the ones you already have. So now let's transition to talking about the what. What makes a good thumbnail exactly? So I've pulled up a few of my educational YouTuber friends, and we'll go through them one by one, explaining why their thumbnails are so great and so effective. Now, if you're looking for inspiration, I recommend going to standard.tv, and there's just a ton of creators here, including myself, so chances are if you click on a random one, go to their channel, you'll find some great inspiration, kind of get your creative juices flowing. Let's start off with City Beautiful. This is a channel I personally love. It's about city planning, cities, and sometimes through a gaming lens. Now you'll notice with his thumbnails that they are pretty consistent and pretty simple. So there's not anything super advanced or complicated going on. There's basically two elements to the thumbnails. First of all, a photo or two in the background, and then there's a design element, which is the title or shortened version of it, in front of this tricolor graphic element. So he kind of does two things at once, which is if you don't know his channel, then you'll be intrigued by this pretty eye-catching image. But if you're already a subscriber, then this font combined with these three colors will make you remember that this is City Beautiful, so it's simple and effective. So next is polyphonic. Now this is a great example of thumbnails as art. Every one of these thumbnails are beautiful. They look like album covers, and in many cases they are based on album covers because he covers music topics, or they look like posters like that you'd put up on your wall. Now there's some differences from City Beautiful in that there's less consistency. Of course there are some consistent elements, like for example, the background tends to be darker, black background or a gray, but each one is more distinct. Here's a channel called Mustard. It's an aviation channel, and the reason I bring it up is to show how consistency can be accomplished in many different ways. So in City Beautiful's case, it was through those 3 colors. And in this case, there aren't any kind of color consistency necessarily, so much as a general art style. You just need to communicate to existing subscribers, this is one of your videos. But how you do that, that's up to you. Next is real engineering. Now what I love about these thumbnails is that there's such good consistency, but every thumbnail is visually interesting. Almost everyone uses this blue branded color, and it really communicates very well to viewers. This is real engineering whenever they see that video pop up in their subscription feed. But the other thing is that every once in a while, he can mix it up with a different color or different style, like with this one, and it really catches your eye, gives it a special distinction, and is very effective. Now we're going to talk about 2 more channels which kind of prove the same general point. First is Tirzu, and the second is Lamino. And both of these thumbnails you'll immediately notice they're quite simple. These are not super complicated thumbnails, and in the case of Lamino, they're super simple to the point of often just having one color in the background and one object in the front. And the point here is that you don't have to go overboard. I've made this mistake many times myself of thinking your thumbnail is going to be huge, but the truth is most of the time your thumbnail is going to be displayed very small, and often very small on a tiny mobile device. So make your thumbnail simple. Make it as scalable as possible so that whether it's small or big, people can still read the text, get the gist of the topic. In the case of Tirzu, it accomplishes this goal even if you can't exactly see what the element is in the thumbnail. So if you don't recognize what this animal is, it doesn't necessarily matter if you're an existing subscriber because you see these black, white, and yellow colors in this arrangement and you know instantly this is a Tirzu video. Let's talk about Alt-Shift-X. Now you'll notice these thumbnails are extremely simple, white background, black text that's huge, and then just one face or one object off to the side. You can see by the views and by the number of subscribers, good does not equal complex. Alt-Shift-X probably doesn't have to spend hours and hours working on the thumbnail, and the thumbnails are still effective. So here I've kind of distilled everything we've talked about into a rough list of the things you want to watch out for. This is not necessarily comprehensive, but we'll expand upon all of these in future videos so that you know what each of them means, and we can start working on the actual creative process.